Namo Adida Phat. Thanks so much for joining me for our daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This wonderful sound calls us back to our true home. The third mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by sexual misconduct, I vow to cultivate responsibility and learn ways to protect the safety and integrity of individuals, couples, families, and society. I'm determined not to engage in sexual relations without love and a long-term commitment. To preserve the happiness of myself and others, I'm determined to respect my commitments and the commitments of others. I will do everything in my power to protect children from sexual abuse and to prevent couples and families from being broken by sexual misconduct. For our Dharma lesson, we've been reading Abundant, Exalted, Immeasurable by Ajahn Pasanno. And we're beginning chapter 2 today, Metta, a mature emotion. Question. My activist neighbor is going to Nevada to register voters. It's difficult to convince myself that I'm sitting in meditation for the benefit of all beings, not just giving myself a gift, let alone explain a week of sitting to her. Could you comment? Answer. There are a couple of different layers there. The main one that leaps out is that I don't think you need to explain yourself to everybody, especially in the light of loving kindness. It's usually not an act of loving kindness to try to compare and then explain yourself to others. That's usually an exercise in judgment of yourself in which you invariably come up short. The very impulse to have to explain yourself to others is almost always generated from the sense, I must be doing something wrong, and therefore I have to explain myself. You're inevitably going to come up short. A good question is this an act of kindness towards myself? And then, is it a real act of kindness to explain myself to other people? Do they actually need to know? It's something of an American compulsion to explain yourself to others. I remember the very first year that I came to America to help found Abhayagiri. We were invited on alms round to a neighbor's house, which is about 7 miles from the monastery. You walk down Tomke Road and East Road on alms round to get to their house. It's a long walk. A woman pulled over and asked, "Where are you going? Do you need a ride?" I had misjudged the time and we were running a bit late, so it was quite good to have a ride. There was still maybe a mile or a mile and a half left. It wasn't that far, but in the distance of a mile or a mile and a half, I learned more about that woman's life than I had wanted to know. I had never seen her before. There is a compulsion in the American psyche to try to explain everything to everybody. I don't know how much of a kindness that is to other people. So these are some basic thoughts in terms of the reflection around loving kindness. Is it a kindness to oneself? Is it a kindness to others? In the realm of meditation and activism, we can ask ourselves, what is better? What should I be doing? There's a tendency in the mind to think in terms of either or. Either I should be doing this or I should be doing that. Either this is right and that's wrong, or that's right and that's wrong and this is right. That approach is very divisive and complicates things. Again, is it a kindness to think in that way? It's a real questioning of the underlying ways that we relate to ourselves and the world around us. What is the effect of that framework of right and wrong, either or? It's important in terms of spiritual practice, particularly from this perspective of loving kindness, to get some space around that way of dividing things up, separating them out, and being in opposition to things. I don't think that it is a helpful way to reflect on our experience, because how the Buddha structured things was not so much as right and wrong, but more as skillful and unskillful, wholesome and unwholesome. We realize that an activist who is registering voters is doing something wholesome and skillful. That's a good thing to do. Is it what I need to be doing? Is it what I want to be doing right now? Do I feel drawn to that? Maybe yes, maybe no. It's also about being able to see somebody else's skillfulness or wholesome activity and delight in that. Being able to derive a sense of encouragement from others' good actions without intimidating ourselves. Other people can and are happy to do that. That's great. What I'd like to do for this week at least is have a chance for a period of retreat, settling, creating an anchor for myself. That's a wholesome, good, and skillful thing to do. It doesn't mean that because we've made the choice to be on retreat that we're right and the rest of those schmucks out there really blew it. These are very separate realms. We can encourage ourselves in the choices that we make without undermining ourselves. That is an act of kindness. We can also see how other people choose to use their time and energy and encourage and support them, or at least delight in the good that they are doing. That is an aspect of our own wholesomeness as well, and we benefit from that. May all beings be well, may all beings be happy, may all beings be peaceful. Namo Phat. Thanks so much for joining me today.